As you all know, I'm starting to get into casting. Bought a few items so far to get into casting. One of the main items that I think that you can buy before you start a new project is to actually buy a book. You know, here we go with the old school technology. Books work. You know, sometimes computers and cell phones, you know, you're out of service. They'll do everything, but I've never had a book not work. It's always just worked for me. You know, there's been a few times that I've spilled a drink on a book and it kind of got bad. That was my fault. It wasn't the book's fault, but books always seem to work. What this is the Lyman's Cast Bullet Handbook. It says it's the only complete source for cast bullet data. It's the 4th edition. I bought this, you know, I've watched a lot of videos on the internet, and I've watched a couple of my buddies reload cast bullets, and it seems fairly easy if you kind of know what you're doing, but it's kind of like that with everything in life, you know. If you first start doing anything, it's kind of difficult, but, you know, you have somebody else show you, and you're watching them, and you're like, man, that looks super easy, and it never is easy as it looks. But I'm sure that with a little practice, it'll all become easier. So, because I wanted to learn a little bit more after watching videos and talking to my buddies and stuff, and I went ahead and got the book. I thought it would be a good book to have around, and never hurts to have extra books. I've read a little bit of it, you know, and so far it's pretty interesting. It talks about a lot of different things, like this section here is on lead alloys. This one section here is on the bullet molds. This here is on casting troubleshooting. So if you're having, you know, different problems or different issues with your bullet, you can troubleshoot it. It's a good little thing. Talks about bullet quality, you know, what to look for in a bullet, how to get better quality. It talks about propellants. You know, it talks about blowing up your gun. I guess they don't want you to do that. I hope not to do that. I've got a lot of money in these firearms. I like to keep them nice. It talks about sizing and lubing and all different kinds of stuff. So, you know, if you're thinking about getting into casting, you know, right now, I don't know if this is the best book on the market, but it seems to be the one that everybody recommends. And eventually, I'm sure they'll update it to the 5th edition. You know, there's a lot of stuff happening in casting that is not in this book, you know, such as powder coating or even high-tech bullets or a lot of other different things. But, you know, it has the load data for your different molds with different powders, you know, and it's just all dedicated to cast bullets. So, there it is. If you're following this series because you want to see how a new guy begin into casting, because you're thinking about getting into casting, first thing I'm going to recommend is you get a book. So that way you can have a reference guide. Reference guides are always good. All right, guys, appreciate you watching. Thanks.